Good morning. Hope you guys are having a nice day. I figured since you were off today, we are going to go over the directions for that tutorial drawing that you've been working on in class. I'm going to go over the whole rest of the drawing, and hopefully tomorrow when you get back, that'll speed things up a little bit. Of course, I'll go back over the directions in class, but this is just so you kind of get a feel for what we are going to be working on. So I'm going to be screen sharing from my desktop computer, and then I'll be going through everything step by step. I'll also be talking about what page we're on in the directions. That way, if anybody's absent tomorrow, when you return, if you need to stop down during activity period, you can always use this video to help you as well. So I'm going to go into screen share mode right now. Okay, so if you recall, when you get back into your drawing, the first thing that you need to do is go over to the model menu, which is on the left-hand side of your screen here. On the model menu, you should see extrusion 1, and then directly under extrusion 1, you should see the sketch that you were previously working in. Now, to reopen the sketch, you could either right-click on it, and you could select Edit Sketch, or you could double click that little white box that's located next to it. Either one is fine, but what should happen is it should reopen the sketch that you were working in before, which means you should see those grid lines reappear on the top of your screen. Okay, so at this point in my drawing, I've drawn both of my straight lines, I have both my arcs, I have construction lines in, and I've also started to use my first constraint, which is called the collinear constraint. If you are not sure if you have done that already, a good way to check is to click on both of your straight lines, and you can make sure that you have that symbol next to each one. If you do, that means you've already used the collinear constraint and you are good to go. Next constraint that we'll be working with is also in the top row. It's right next to collinear. It is called the concentric constraint. It's the one that looks like a bullseye. It's a black and a red circle. It is used to make two circles or two arcs parallel to one another. We're going to use it to make both of our arcs parallel to the outer edge of the circle. So you're going to click that constraint. You're going to start with the top arc first. You want to click on that one time, and then you're going to move to the outside edge of your circle. It should light up green. When it lights up green, you're going to click. That is going to make that arc parallel to your circle. Then you're just going to repeat with the bottom arc. So you're going to click that one time, then you're going to move out, and you're going to click your circle again. Okay, when you do that, sometimes it's going to stretch your shape out and make it really large. Sometimes it's going to shrink your shape down and make it really small. It honestly just depends on how you initially drew everything, but it really does not matter because we're going to resize this shape ourselves. So if you have not done this yet, you'll have to go onto your keyboard. You're going to click the escape key, which is in the top left corner. That's going to clear everything out. And then what you can do is you can click and hold down on the top arc, and you can drag it up a little bit if you need to. And then you can click and hold down on the bottom arc, and you can drag up on that as well. Okay, you're going to notice no matter where this shape is, no matter what size it is, the lines stay straight towards the center, the arcs stay parallel with one another, which is what you're looking for. When you resize it, if you can get it somewhere near the size that mine is right now, that would be great. Okay, moving on, we would be at the top of page 8 in the directions. The next tool we're going to be working with is called the dimension tool. We're going to use that to put 20 degrees between the right-hand side of our shape. So that is this line right here and this construction line. We want them 20 degrees apart from one another. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to click the dimension tool. Now, when I click the right part of my shape, I want to make sure that when I click, the entire line lights up green. I do not want to click the end point or the center point of my line. If I do that, it's actually going to give me distance instead of degrees. So it would be in inches, and I don't want that to happen. So make sure the entire line is green. Once you click it, you're going to move over and you're going to also click on this construction line right here. Once you do that, you should see a number appear. You can move the number up. It doesn't have to be anywhere particular, just as long as it's outside of the circle, that's good. And then when you click a third time, it'll give you the opportunity to change that number. We're going to type in 20. The program already knows that we are working in degrees, so we do not have to specify our units. And then we're just going to press enter. Okay, then we're going to move to the other side of the shape. So we want the left-hand side to be 50 degrees from this construction line. So we're going to click the line on the left-hand side. Make sure the entire line turns green before you click. You're going to move over. You're going to click this construction line right here. Move the number up. Again, it doesn't really matter where it's at. Just make sure it's not overlapping the number 20 so I can read it. And then when you click a third time, you're going to change that number to 50 and press enter. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to move on to the next step. The next step in the directions tells you to delete one of the construction lines. So the construction line that you want to get rid of is going to be this one right here. You'll have to press the escape key on your keyboard to get rid of it. You're going to click on it one time, and then if you press delete on your keyboard, that will take that away. Now we're ready to use the last constraint tool, which is also in the top row. That's the one that looks like a 90-degree angle. It is called the coincident constraint. All you're going to do is select it. You'll click the bottom right-hand corner of your shape. There should be a little green dot that pops up. So you're going to click the green dot. And then you're going to move over and you're going to click on this construction line right here. When you do that, it is going to stretch your shape out and it's going to make it a little bit larger. Now in the directions in the folder, it's showing that this number is still 20 degrees. When you do this, it is most likely going to change to 160 degrees, which is completely fine. I'm going to explain why that's happening. So let's pretend that this arc right here was a full circle. A full circle is 360 degrees. Now, if we break that circle in half, that's going to be 180 degrees. So if the distance from here to here is 160 degrees, that means this little sliver right here is still 20 degrees. That would give us 180. So it's basically just changed the section or the area that was dimensioning, but it didn't make the size any different. So don't worry about that. As long as it says 160, you are still good to go. Okay, moving on. So for the next step, you would be at the top of page 10. We're going to go back and get the dimension tool again. You're going to click the top arc one time, move the number up. Again, doesn't matter where it's at, just make sure it's not overlapping another number. And then when you click again, you're going to change that to 0.45 and press enter. For the bottom one, you're going to click, move up, click again. It's going to be 0.35 and enter. And then once you're done with that, all your lines should turn black. Black means that they are constrained, they are dimensioned. Basically, everything is locked into place. This is a good time to make sure that all of your measurements are correct. If everything looks good, you're going to go ahead and press that Finish Sketch button, which is the green check mark in the top right-hand corner. That means we are closing our sketch. We are done drawing this shape. This would also be a really good time to save your work. So you would just go to the File tab and just click on the word Save. Okay, moving on. The next thing we're going to be doing is cutting this shape out. So from here moving forward, you need to be looking at your object or your shape three-dimensionally. That means that you can see the top surface and also a little bit of the side. If your circle is completely flat like this, you are going to need to fix that. So you're going to go up to the direction cube, which is up here in the top right-hand corner of your screen. You're going to click and hold right in the center of it. and you're gonna push your mouse forward to rotate that back. Now that we're able to see the top and the side, these next couple steps are gonna be much easier. Okay, the next tool we're gonna be working with is under the 3D model tab. You're already a little bit familiar with it. It is the extrude tool. This time we're gonna use it to cut our shape out. So we're gonna click extrude. Sometimes it will automatically recognize the shape. Sometimes it will not. That is not happening for me right now. So what I need to do is I need to go in and I need to click on my shape. So I'm just gonna click somewhere in the middle here. Once I do that, it'll recognize it. And then I'm gonna go over here to the settings box. In the settings box, in this bottom row, I'm going to look for the cut button. That is the second one over. It's the gold and blue rectangles. After I press cut, I'm gonna move to the row above that and I'm gonna look for through all. So that is that arrow that faces downward that has the 3 red lines going through it. That's telling it to cut all the way through your object. Once you've cut and through all selected, you're gonna go down and press OK. You can rotate it then, just double check, make sure it cut the whole way through. Okay, next tool we're gonna be working with is also under the 3D model tab. It is called the fillet tool. The word fillet just basically means taking a square corner and rounding it over. It's just gonna change the way that your shape looks a little bit. So the fillet tool is right up top here. We're gonna go ahead and open that up. First thing you need to do is change your radius. So we're gonna type in the number 0.05. After you type in 0.05, then you have to go over to your drawing and you have to select your 4 corners. So before you start clicking, you wanna just really take your time and make sure that you have the corners selected correctly. So what I always do is I zoom in, I take my cursor, I start moving towards the corner. When I get to the corner, I then move directly down. Once I move down, I usually see a vertical line that extends down from the corner. That is what I want to click on. So I have one here. I'm going to move to the next corner. When I get to the corner, I move down and I look for that vertical line. Okay, then I'm going to slide over to the other side here. This is my third corner. And then it kind of just depends on which way you have this rotated, but you should be able to see the 4th corner. That's just where those 2 surfaces are connecting together, and that would be right here. So that is what your fillets are supposed to look like. If you accidentally click a wrong edge, just go into the settings box, hit cancel, go back to the fillet tool, and just try it again. It's no big deal. When you're finished, just press OK. All right, next step is going to be applying the circle pattern. So those directions begin at the top of page 12. The circle pattern tool is also under the 3D model tab. It's under the pattern section, which is right here. You're looking for the one that says circular. Okay, this is a 3-step process and you have to make sure you do the steps in the correct order for it to work. So step 1, you are selecting the shape that you are trying to replicate. So when you get near your shape, you should see a green box that pops up around it. When you see that green box, you're gonna go ahead and click. Then you're gonna kind of move over to the corners. When you get near the corners, it should also let you select the fillets. That is it. Those are the only 2 things you want to select, just the box and the fillets. If you accidentally click something else, just hit cancel, go back to the circle pattern tool and try that again. Once you have those selected, you're going to go into the settings box, which is right here, and you are going to select or click on the red arrow. So that is right next to where it says rotation axis. Then we're going to move over to the model menu, which is on the left-hand side of our screen here. We're going to go to the origin folder, which is right above extrusion 1. There's a little plus sign next to it. When you click the plus sign, it's going to open up and you're going to see your 3 planes. So X, Y, and Z. we are going to be clicking, I'm sorry, not your planes, your axis, your X, Y, and Z axis. We are going to choose the Y axis. When you choose the Y axis, it should give you a preview of all the shapes that it's going to cut out, and it should look like what you're seeing on my screen right now. You do have the ability to change the amount of shapes that you are cutting out. It's automatically set at 6. That's the number that I used in the directions, but when you work on your wheel project, you may want to cut out a different number of shapes. You may want to cut out just 3 or 4. So in the settings box, you can change that quantity. The nice thing is it evenly spaces them out for you, and it makes them all exactly the same size. Again, we're just leaving it at 6. So all you have to do is go back into the settings box and press OK. All right, next step is on page 13, and that is cutting out what's called the axle hole. So you could either draw a circle and just cut it out, or you could use the hole button, which is the way that I did it in the directions. So the hole button is under the 3D model tab. It is right next to fillet. After you click on that, the first thing you're going to do before you go into the settings box is you're going to go over to your circle here, and you're going to click anywhere on the top of it. It does not matter where you click. We're just clicking, we're getting the hole on there, we're getting it placed. Then all you need to do to center it is you have to go out here and you have to click the outside edge of your circle. Once you click the edge of the circle, it should move the hole directly to the middle. This dot in the center of it should turn red. Red means that it is centered. Okay, the diameter on it is 0.25, which it's automatically set at, so we do not have to change that. We're good to go. So we're just going to go into the settings box and press OK. All right, at this point, we're almost done. Only a couple steps left. Next thing we're going to do is create a new sketch. So you do have to click on the top surface here. You're just going to do a regular click with the left-hand side of your mouse. And create sketch is the one on the right-hand side with the green plus sign. When you hit create sketch, you should see those grid lines appear back on the top surface of your circle. You are now going to be using the circle tool. So we're going to start directly at the center point. I'm going to do one click, and I'm going to draw 2 circles. The first circle is actually the same exact size as that axle hole that I just cut out. So the diameter on that is going to be 0.25. And remember, you can just type the measurement in on your keyboard. That's the easiest way to do this. So I did one click, I released, I'm typing in 0.25, and then I'm pressing enter. Then I'm going to do one click on the center point again. I'm going to type in 0.35. That is my second measurement, and I'm pressing enter. Make sure you draw both of those. Now I'm going to press finish sketch. I'm going to press extrude, and I'm going to build this area up. When I build this up, I only want to select the area between the 2 circles that I just drew. So I'll zoom in a little bit. The only area that should light up green is this ring right here. If you're zoomed out too far, sometimes it doesn't let you select that spot, so you may need to zoom in just a little bit. Once you have the right area selected, you can go ahead and click, and then you're going to have to go into your settings box and type in the correct distance, which is 0.25. Okay, we're on to the very last page, which is page 15. We're going to be adding some fillets here. Okay, the first fillets are going to go on the outside edges. So that's right here and right here. Okay, the radius for those fillets is going to be 0.025. So that was here and here. And then we have to do the last fillet separately. The last fillet has a radius of 0.1, and that is where these 2 pieces connect. So that fillet is going right here. And that's it. After you get to this point, I would like you to go back and just kind of double check all of your work yourself. You can do that by using the model menu over here on the left-hand side of your screen. So what you would do is you would start with extrusion one. If you double click on extrusion one, that is going to take you back to the very first sketch that you did. So that's where we drew that 1-inch circle. You'll also be able to see exactly how far you extruded it. So you can check your measurements. And then to get back out of that, you just go into the settings box and you hit cancel. Then you're going to go to extrusion two. You're going to double click. You'll be able to see the shape that you drew. You can check all your measurements and you can hit cancel when you're finished. So you're basically just going to go down through your model menu. You're going to double click every single thing that's on there. You're checking everything and you're going to use the rubric that you have for this project to help you and make sure that everything's right. Once you know that everything's correct, you can let me know and I will grade your project. If you see something that's not right, now would be the time to ask for help. I can look at it, we can talk about it, we can figure out how to go back and make those changes before you get it graded. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. I will see you in school tomorrow and we will hopefully get this finished up in class. All right, have a nice day.